yes, the deep state is trying their hardest to start a war. They don't realise we're all gonna die. Yes, the rumours are true. Russia has fired a missile into Ukraine. But only one video today, guys. There's no lot. Everything's sort of been drowned out by this. But yes, Russia has fired missiles at Ukraine after Kyiv's first use of long-range American and English, by the way, missiles inside Russia. This is definitely retaliation for the missiles that were fired into Russia. I believe it was 2 days ago. So at the end of the day, am I surprised this is happening? No. I must admit, I do like the fact that some of this reporting. So the standard here is Russia launches intercontinental missiles for first time in Vladimir Putin's Ukraine war, says Kyiv. What do you mean, says Kyiv? You got satellites? You got access to a satellite photo? Or internet? Or Twitter? You know, it is another one. The Kyiv Independent. Russia reportedly launches intergalactic ballistic missile against Ukraine. What we know so far. Like, you're literally the Kyiv Independent. If you're not sure if Russia has gone through and launched intercontinental ballistic missiles at you, maybe stick your head out the effing window and have a look. But anyway. But yes, Russia launches a barrage of missiles at Ukraine today in its first major retaliation for the UK attack. So the Ukraine attack earlier in the week on the military facility in the Russian region of Byax. That strike saw the Ukraine use American-made and supplied long-range missiles known as AMTACs, which President Biden had given the Ukraine forces permission to fire deeper into Russian territory only 2 days earlier. Now, I believe it's actually also the UK has also been given missiles too. Moscow had warned the US and NATO allies for months against granting Ukraine permission to fire weapons into Russia. Mr. Biden's weekend decision to permit such strikes drew stark new warnings from lawmakers in Russian media close to Vladimir Putin, and in the US was escalating the nearly 3-year conflict. Now, obviously at the end of the day, I believe at this time Biden was walking around the Congo. I do not think it was him that did this. I don't even think he knows what day it is, but it was his administration. The US and its allies have argued that Putin's escalation in the war started by ordering the full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Of course, we're not to blame. We just supplied the missiles, including by deploying more than 10,000 North Korean soldiers to bolster his own forces in recent weeks. But there was little doubt that Moscow would respond to the Ukraine's first use of the American AMTACs to strike inside Russia. Somehow, an air raid sirens blared across the country on Wednesday. The US closed, as the US closed its embassy in Kyiv and warned of possible intermittent significant attacks. The attacks didn't come on Wednesday, but rather overnight, with Russian missiles targeting several cities by hitting certain central eastern Dnipro and the hardest. The Ukraine Air Force claims that Russia's assault on the city included its first use of war during the intercontinental ballistic missiles. Though the Western officials told CBS on Thursday the ICBMs were not used in the strike. Bullshit. 2 US officials also told CBS News that Russia had fired ballistic missiles, not an ICBM, on Thursday. With one saying it appears to have been an intermediate range ballistic missile launched from just east of Volga, Russia, to target Dnipro. If accurate, this would be a flight path of about 500 miles. Despite the denials from the US office, Ukraine's President Vladimir Zelensky is said in a post on social media that there are all characteristics of a Russia missile used in the strike on Dnipro, corresponding to an intercontinental ballistic missile, though he said an investigation was underway to confirm. Look, even if it wasn't an ICBM, it's still crazy. Like, like when someone, if I go to a zoo and the bear is there and I keep poking it with a stick, and the bear turns around and says, "Stop poking me," and I keep doing it, and it says, "If you keep poking me, I'm going to attack you," and then at the end of the day, I keep doing it. Guess what? I deserve the attack. I really, really do. It's the same thing with Putin, except in this case, Putin's the bear. And instead of not doing anything, it was just eating another piece of carcass. During a live stream televised in Moscow on Thursday, Russia's foreign ministry spokeswoman Maria Kureva received a phone call. A man identifying as only as Masha could have heard ordering her not to make any comment on the ballistic missile strikes on when Westerners have started talking about in Dnipro. So during a live stream conference in Moscow on Thursday, Russia's foreign ministry woman Maria Kureva received a phone call, and a man identified as only as Masha could have heard or could be heard ordering her not to make any comment on the ballistic missile strike. Okay, that's weird. The Ukraine Air Force did not say what the purpose of the Russian ICBM had targeted or whether it had caused any damage, but Dnipro regional governor Shai Ligzia said that the strike damaged an industry enterprise and ignited fires in the city, wounding 15 people. The Ukraine Air Force said that Russia attack also included a something hypersonic missile and 7 cruise missiles, all weapons used many times previously by Russia during the war. 6 of the Russian missiles were shot down, the Air Force said. Sure. The strike came hours after the CBS news team in Kyiv, along with hundreds of thousands of residents of the Ukraine capital, were forced to scramble for cover underground parking lots, metro stations, and basements on Wednesday as air raid sirens ran. In the end, no missile landed on Wednesday, leaving Ukraine to accuse Russia of psychological attack. Won't be the first time. We were very worried, one young Kyiv resident told CBS. We wanted to keep our country. We wanted to live in peace, tell people in the Donbass region. After more than 2 years and 2.5 years of the war in Ukraine, his scars and anxiety run deep. It could happen any minute, any hour, Major Taras Ukraine Territory Defense Force told CBS News, arguing that Russia and Putin are blackmailing this country, trying to frighten Ukraine into surrendering. Well, if you're claiming that you have psychological scars that run deep, I'm guessing he's actually doing it, but trying to make the conclusion that any sort of opposition to Russia invasion is absolutely useless. Well, technically it is, because they're putting out about 6 times the amount of ammo that the NATO countries combined are putting out. I'll talk about that in a sec. Some believe that Russia and Ukraine are trying to maximize their gains, with them leverage for a further ceasefire before President Donald Trump comes in office. So a few facts about this that the mainstream media has not told people. Russia is producing arms at 6 times the rate of all of the NATO countries combined. So for every 1 bullet that the NATO countries combined have produced, Russia has put out another 5. They have a war machine literally running. And like I said, this is Russia compared to the rest of NATO. This is not just Ukraine, which is not obviously NATO officially, but this is all of NATO combined. Their mass production when it comes to war and ammunition is 5 times less than Russia. So there's that. Also, at the end of the day, look, I don't like Putin. He's a dictator, right? He is a dictator. He's an illegitimate president for a start. There's a whole bunch. He's KGB. He's killed people. If I was in Russia, he'd probably try and kill me. I'm an independent journalist. But at the end of the day, I'm not going to get into this where I have to love Ukraine and all their faults because Russia's bad. I'm just going to sit there and think you're both idiots, and then I'm going to go and have a beer and sit on the beach. That's my argument. Now, obviously, Trump coming into the White House will most likely tone all this down. But we have 2 months still. And the deep state is gunning for war. So, can't come soon enough. But guys, let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. But yeah, it really is concerning about how the deep state is literally gunning for this war. It is absolutely terrifying. And like I say, what they don't realise, well, they do realise, they don't care, but it's people like you and me are the ones that are going to end up glowing in the dark. If this was an ICBM, they can be nuclear. If this one thankfully doesn't seem to have been, if it was an ICBM, but ICBMs can have nuclear weapons in them. They are firing missiles that all they have to do is change the warhead. And they're going nuclear. That is how close we are to nuclear war right now. And the deep state is running towards it with open arms. Because money. And that's what it comes down to. It comes down to money. They need to refund or refinance their pockets. Because Kamala Harris spent $1 billion on her campaign. And I guarantee you, a lot of that would have come from the war machine. So, yeah. Like I said last night, it's literally a fire sale. They're trying to burn everything to the ground before Trump comes in. Let me know what your thoughts are in that comment section below. Guys, if the video has been helpful, please smack that like button. If anything you agree or disagree with, let me know in the comment section. Let's have a discussion. Apart from that, guys, we will see you in the next demonetized video. Have a great night. We'll see you tomorrow.